Hi Stampers and welcome to Stamping Fun Night. There are 2 new catalogs just out this month. This is the beginner catalog. So it has some great stuff just for beginners, but I love all this stuff in here too. This stamp set and this stamp set are exclusive to this catalog. And then there is the brand new 2020-2021 Stampin' Up! Catalog with lots of new fun stuff in it and lots of new fun accessories in the back. So let me know if you need either of these. I'd be happy to give those to you. The first card that I'm going to demonstrate is this card, You Mean the World to Me. So we'll be using Tasteful Touches, which is a new stamp set. All right, and I will be using this little background set stamp here, and also the Well Said stamp set, okay, which has lots of great things for all kinds of different occasions. And also this paper right in here is the World of Good specialty paper. And it's specialty paper because you can see it has some brass shininess in there. Right? And then some of the pages are regular designer paper. Right? So pretty and just all kinds of neat designs on there. So you can see that brass shiny part on some of the pages, which is what makes it designer paper. So really fun designs on that also. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is take some Bumblebee cardstock, and I cut 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half the long way, and I will take a bone folder and fold that in half, just like that. Then I'm going to take some Versamark. This is a watermark stamp pad, so when you stamp it, it is just clear. Okay, so I will ink that stamp up from Tasteful Touches, and I'm just going to do it randomly in the background. And it just gives it just a real subtle background. You can tell it's a real sticky ink. It's also great for embossing. Okay, so just so there's a few on the background. Okay, I don't want to miss over here because a little bit will be sticking out on that side. Okay, so I use the Versamark pad for that. And then I'm going to take the Early Espresso and stamp You Mean the World to Me. Okay, and this is from the Well Said stamp set. So I'm going to stamp it on my envelope first. And you can see that the words are all together here. Right? But then on my card, they're not. So what I did to do that is I stamped it on some Very Vanilla. Then I took the classic label punch and I punched it out. It's always easier to stamp it and then punch it because you can see just exactly what you're punching. I took a stamping sponge and sponged around the outside of that. I love sponging. It just seems to add just a little bit where you need it. And then I'm going to be adding that to the center of the world that I punched out. Now I have in the list of supplies that I use the Layering Circles dies, okay, which are all kinds of regular circles and some with scallops around them. It's a great bunch of circles there. But when I used the circle in there that was small enough with the other die, you can see you can barely tell that I did that. So I used the 1-inch circle punch, which is now retired, right? But that made it just a little bit better size. Okay, so I'm going to attach that to the scallop circle I punched out. And now I'm going to need to use my paper snips and I will be cutting the word world off of it just like that. Okay. Then I can put the word world right on top of the world. Just in the middle like that. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. All right, I can attach my designer paper to a little bit larger piece of Early Espresso. Okay, and attach that to the card. Okay, make sure all my worlds are going the right way. So I don't have any upside down worlds. All right. Then I'm going to attach this with some mini Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay, so these are great because they're nice and small, and don't forget to use all that outside part. You can see I was using the outside of it also. Okay, so I will get my mini dimensionals on there. Peel those backings off. Then decide where I want to put this. So I'm going to have it about here, I think looks good. Okay, so I'm going to move that over just a teeny bit. Okay, just like that. And then I can take my other words and put dimensionals on the back of those. Just these mini ones. These are so nice because you don't have to cut those dimensionals anymore. Okay, but don't forget to cut the edges of them. Okay, so I'll take those backings off. And just make sure that I line up those words. Just like that. And put the words "to me" on the back. Or on the other side, excuse me. Okay, so just kind of line it up, make sure it's going to be looking like it's kind of weaving through there, just like that. Okay, so some great designer paper and some really fun designs in that. The next card that I'm going to show you uses a little masking to do this part right here. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different parts of this one. First thing I'm going to do is this background, this old olive. You can see it has that really neat background. That is the Old World Paper 3D embossing folder. It gives a really, really neat look to that. So what I do is I put this in here. Now this is a nice big one, so I can decide, do I want, it's kind of the lines going this way, do I want it like that on my paper or going across that way, okay, which would be up and down the way I'm going to do my card. Well, I want to do it going across. Right? So you put that in the folder, and then you take whatever embossing machine that you have, and you run it through there. Just like that. And the pressure of that will give it that neat embossed look. Okay, so just a really, really beautiful look for this one. Okay, so I'm going to attach that to some Very Vanilla. This is thick Very Vanilla, and I always give it a little fold here before I try to fold it, just because it is so thick. It makes it just a little bit easier for me. Okay, so I have my Very Vanilla, and I'm going to attach this. The first thing that I'm going to do, though, is get out some gold metallic trim from the Forever Greenery set of ribbons. You can see it has a Very Vanilla and then this beautiful gold metallic. And it kind of comes apart, this metallic trim. So I'm going to tape mine to the back because I don't want mine to come apart, but I bet you're thinking of all kinds of cool ideas that you could use when it comes apart like this. You could use really thin pieces or have like a little tassel there. Okay, so there's some really neat ideas for that. Okay, so I'm going to attach this right in the middle. I'll just tape that to the back, okay, and wrap that around there twice. So I get a little bit thicker than what it originally comes as. Okay, snip that off, and you can see it kind of wants to unravel. So if you don't want that unraveled look, you can just tape that down or find a way to keep that from unraveling. All right, but that's going to give some really neat looks too. So I have that on there. I'm going to attach that to my card. Just in the center like that. Okay, so my card base is all set. And then I'm going to stamp on my envelope from Free as a Bird. And this is the words, "Your friendship means the world to me," and I'll be using Old Olive ink. So I'll open up that Old Olive and stamp that on there. Okay, so I know that my envelope is all set. Okay, then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little sticky note and some more Very Vanilla, and I am going to put that sticky note right here to cover up, so wherever I stamp on that sticky note, it's not going to show. I'll take the leaf from Free as a Bird, and I'll be stamping around it. I'm going to do it 5 times. Usually an odd number is going to give you a better look. Right? So now when I peel that off, you can see that it is masked. That's stuck on here, so you don't see it on there. Right, now I can stamp the words in there. And I could attach it to some saffron cardstock and then attach it to my card, and it would be a really nice looking card. But I kind of want a little border around that. So what I'm going to do is take a Saffron marker, and I'm going to use my sticky note to help me draw these lines. A ruler also works pretty good. Okay, but then I can see just where I want those lines. Okay, so I'm going to draw those lines around it. Okay, having the sticky note give me a little bit better definition of where those lines should go. Okay, give me nice smooth lines like that. Okay, then I can attach that to the card with some Stampin' Dimensionals, and you have a great card with some masking right there. Right, so that is a great way to start a little technique, and all you need is some sticky notes. The next card that I am going to show you also uses the Free as a Bird stamp set. Right, so we're going to be using the bird and the words, and you can see that there's a fun new thing here. The antique corners and slides elements are also something that we're going to be using. Okay, so, and this also uses the World of Good specialty designer paper, and so you can see this one does not have the shiny part to it, but it's still such a beautiful paper. I'm going to take some cinnamon cider and fold that in half. This is one of the new ink colors. I think this is such a pretty color. And I'll also be using some early espresso on there. And if you ordered the kit, you get the different papers that go with it, the designer paper, and I've already cut them. So you kind of want to line them up here. So if they weren't cut, they would all line up. Right? And my tip to you is to not cut all of these, to just cut one at a time and then put them together. Okay, so I will cut this one, right? And there's no right or wrong way to cut them. Right? I'm going to try to keep them in order a little bit so I don't lose track of where they go. Then I will attach them one at a time, and I know I'm going to want this little bit of a border around it. Okay, so I make sure I have that border. Then I'll attach the next one, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a border in between those. I'm kind of just watching my edge here to make sure that my pieces are going to line up and that they'll be going straight. So kind of look at the side here to make sure that that's going nice and straight. Okay, so you can see why you'd want to keep those pieces organized a little bit, or you could have just a mass of little pieces and no way to put them, no way to figure out how to go together. Or you could, if you really like puzzles, you could do that too. Now, if you have not signed up for Stamping Fun Night yet and you want this packet, right, just contact me and we will figure out a way to get it to you. It is $5, or if you order $20 using the hostess code that I'll put on after this, then you can get these supplies for free. So it's a new catalog, lots of fun new stuff in there. So I know I'm going to be placing an order. I got lots of fun things that I want to be adding to my stamping supplies. You can see I'm just using the side here to help me make sure that I get a nice even line down there. I want my bottom and my top to both be even when I get to the bottom. Okay. And just like that. Okay, so we have those lined up. And then finally snip your last one. All right. As you can see, it doesn't matter exactly how they're cut. Okay. I like mine kind of more of a straight look, but if you want something that's curved or something, you can easily do that. Just make sure you kind of watch how you're doing it so you know how you want to put that together. All right. Okay, so I'm going to get these together. And I'll put this last piece on the bottom here. Okay, just like that. And now this is ready to attach to the card. Okay, so I can attach that to my cinnamon cider. Just like that. Okay, and then I am going to stamp my bird on here. I'm going to be using Early Espresso again. So I can take the bird and I'm going to stamp that on some cinnamon cider that I cut out with the Tasteful Label dies. So there's lots and lots of pretty dies in there that go around lots of different colors. I'm going to use a stamping sponge. And I'm just going to sponge around that bird a little bit, okay? Just to give it a little color. And then I'm going to stamp around the edges also. Okay, so I have a little color added to the bird, just like that. On another piece of cinnamon cider, this is a 3 3/4 by 3.5 inch piece of paper. 3 1/4, I'm sorry, it's a 3/4 by 3 1/4 paper before I punch out the end. And I'm going to stamp the words, "The world needs more of you." And I'm going to put that near the edge. All right. Then I'm going to take my triple banner punch and I will slide that in. Now you can see that it doesn't really line up in there, so I'm just going to have to just take a look at that and make sure I am lining that up just where I want it. And then I can get a nice banner. Another way to get a banner like that is to snip up in the middle and then snip each of the sides, and that will give you a really nice banner also. I'll take some Early Espresso and sponge around the outside. And then just a little added thing, I'm going to add one of my edges here from the Antique Corners and Slide Elements. So this is one of the corners, and then there's also slides in there. So they have these neat slides that ribbon can go through real easily. Okay, so I can attach this using mini glue dots. It's gonna hold it on there. I take this out of the box and I just move that back. They are clear on white, so they are a little bit hard to see. Okay. So, and you can pull them out like this. You want to touch them the smallest amount you can so that they don't lose their stickiness. Right? So I'll just add that on here. Right? And what's nice is these antique slides and corners do not add a lot of bulk. Right? So if you're mailing a card, it's not going to add tons and tons of bulk to that. And then I'll add that on here, right to the edge of my early espresso. And then I'll use some dimensionals to add my bird. So put those on. If you have a hard time getting the backs off, just press the middle and you can get the back off of those real easily. Then I can add this down here. All right. So a great card with some new designer paper, right, and some new antique slides and corners. That is one of your make and takes. The other make and take is going to be this card, right? And if you don't have these words, you can use any words that you have, and I'll show you how you can do that background if you have the Tasteful Touches stamp set, or you can use any other stamp set also. Now this one, it looks really neat in this Just Jade, but we know that there are lots of really nice ink colors this year: the Magenta Madness, the Cinnamon Cider, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Bumblebee. And because there's so many neat ones, I thought, hey, what would it look like in the Misty Moonlight? And this one I use the flower as the background. Okay, so that is a really nice one too. This uses the Magenta Madness, also with the flower in the background. The Cinnamon Cider, and Bumblebee. So you really get a different look from all the different cards. I'm going to be using Very Vanilla again, and it's a thick Very Vanilla, so I pre-scored that in the middle. Okay, and then just give it a little extra with the bone folder so you have a really nice score there. All right. I can set that aside, and I'll take out the Just Jade, and I am going to stamp that with Versamark again. Okay, remember that's that watermark ink pad. And I'm going to be using this stamp from Tasteful Touches. And I'm just going to be doing it randomly all over. Gives it a nice background. Right. Takes a little longer to dry, so if you are embossing with doing heat embossing, it's a really nice ink to use. Right, so I'm just going around here. So everything's covered, but it's definitely a random design. You'll be happier with random design, and you can see how that looks on there. Now if you don't have a Versamark pad, there's some other things that you can do. You can use a lighter color. So I use soft seafoam here. All right, so you can see that it gives the same kind of look. And this is gray granite stamped off one time. All right, so just a lighter color ink or stamping it off will really help. So what I meant by the stamping it off, so I'll take the gray granite, and if I do it full strength, it seems real dark. But if I stamp it off, then it's nice and light, just kind of the look that I want. And so I have this all set. In your supplies, you have another piece of Just Jade, and this is already embossed with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. Okay, so that's already done for you, so it's all set. You can just attach those pieces together. I like the subtle background of that, of the textile look. Okay, give that a little bit of a border there. And then I'm going to wrap my ribbon around. I am using the Forever Greenery trim, and this time I'm using the Very Vanilla part of it. It's nice that it has two different ones. You can use them together or you can use them separate. Okay, so I'll snip off the little bit of extra I have there. Wrap that around. And then I'm also going to be using some Just Jade ribbon. So they have ribbon for all of the new ink colors. And you can see that they really are so nice. They coordinate so well with those ink colors. So I'll wrap that around the back also. And I gave you just a little bit extra, so in case you want to tie a bow or something, you have to kind of watch how you attach it to the back before you tie a bow, but you might be able to do a little something extra with that. Okay, so now I'm going to attach that to the card. Okay, whenever I have a ribbon, I just want to make sure that that stays on there real good. So I'll go a little bit lower on the card, just like that, and attach that to my card base. You also have one of the dies, one of the things cut out from the Tasteful Labels dies. So you can stamp whatever words you want in there. I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And the words "You Are So Special" from Tasteful Touches. And I'm also going to stamp that on my envelope. Okay. Then I can use one of the In Color enamel dots. Okay. I put 2 of them in yours, even though I'm just going to add 1 on mine, just in case you had a little something else you wanted to use that on. I'll use some Stampin' Dimensionals to attach that to the back. And take those off. And attach that to the card, and then you'll be all set. Okay. So again, it looks great in Just Jade, but it looks great in all of the different ink colors. It's really neat to see how just changing the color of something can really change how a card looks. Okay, it can be for a different occasion or just a different person. Maybe one seems like more feminine or more masculine to you, or just a color that you think a friend would like a lot. All right, well, I hope that you had fun seeing these cards. If you love all this stuff, just so you know, if you're falling in love and you always want to get a discount, if you sign up to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator right now, you also get a stamp set and a die bundle, or a stamp set and punch bundle for free. Right? And if you have a $250 party or order, doesn't have to be a party, it can just be a single order, then you also get $25 in extra hostess money. Right? Now, if you really love this stuff and you already paid your $5 and you decide you want to place an order instead using the hostess code for this party, I would happily refund your $5. If you have not ordered your kit yet, please do that by Thursday. All right, and contact me if you want that. We can find a way to get that to you. Okay, because it'd be fun if you can make these also. All right, well, I hope that you had fun seeing Stamping Fun Night for June 2020. And I will be closing on Saturday the 13th in the afternoon. All right, so have a great day and have fun stamping.